Hello everyone. So today I'm going to share with you a developer insights that will actually save you thousands of dollars. If you're interested, please stay on, alright? Before we start, please like, share and subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any of my videos. Alright, let's move on. So today I'm going to share with you what is actually the developer's pricing strategy in today's market. So for here, I want to show you this example called Treasure at Tampines. We can actually see Treasure at Tampines itself, right? Actually it has 2,000 over units. So actually, in fact, one of the biggest developments in Singapore. So imagine you are the sales staff. Okay, usually our launches on Saturday, right? So Friday before you knock off, your boss sees you and say, hey, you know what? Let's have a good launch tomorrow. You sell more, and Monday I will open champagne for you. As an employee, you will say, yes, boss, I will definitely do my best. Then on the weekend, you sell 200 over units. Okay, as a sales staff, actually Monday, would you dare to go back for your sales meeting? If I'm you, I'll be very, very scared. I'll actually call my boss and say, actually I got COVID, I cannot go back. Alright, so can I check with you, actually at this point of time, when the developer sees that they only sell 200 units, but barely about 10% of their entire inventory, how would they feel? Are they very excited or are they very, very stressed? I think majority of us will actually feel very stressed. So the next thing we also want to understand is that how does the developer actually do their pricing strategy? It's actually broken down into 3 phases. So actually this is the price chart for Treasure and Tampines. So you can see in phase 1, right, okay, where the developer is below 60% sold of the inventory. So you realize when that happens, right, actually this whole line here for this period of time, the price is actually quite stagnant. It's quite stable one. Because why? My objective is to be clearing stock. So as I want to be clearing stock, I want to be very sensitive in my pricing so that my units can move. Then if you go to phase 2, where it's about 60 to about 90% sold, you realize this is where it gets a little bit interesting. Why? Because developer starts to what? Play a little bit with the pricing. Why? At this point of time, developer wants to see how far we can stretch the buyer's budget, right, to be able to get a unit. So we look at Treasure at Tampines. So Treasure at Tampines, okay, it started at phase 2 started about 1401 PSF. End of phase 2, right, is 1407 PSF. So in fact, in phase 2, they only increased by $6 PSF on average. Actually, are they very confident already, or are they still a little bit like scared papa like that? In my opinion, I'll feel that they're still a little bit more conservative. But when you go into phase 3, wow, skyrocket. So what happened? Because in phase 3, right, they're already above 90% sold. That is where the developer will reel in the maximum profit, right, in order to maximize their profit. Alright, so this is why you realize that in phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, right, which is the phase that we definitely cannot buy. If you're still wondering, I'll be very worried. So usually what we will say is the phase 3, of course, is something that we must try to avoid. I also must let you know that this so-called this 3 phase, right, in every developer's price strategy, right, it can be different. It can be a shorter phase 1, longer phase 2, or some of the developments today are one shot already go into phase 3 on the last day already. For example, like off my mind is like maybe EOK or like Lentor Central like that. So this so-called phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, right, actually it depends on what is the inventory sold as well. So how does this actually impact us? Okay, buying at phase 1 versus phase 3. So I'll show you a little bit of numbers. So this is phase 1, this is phase 2. So these 2 units actually was bought in May and in June in 2019. So both are actually same 2-bedroom, same size. And you can actually see based on the quantum transacted here, actually the price difference was only about $10,000. It's not a very, very big price gap because like I say phase 1 phase 2 but when it came to phase 3, same thing, same 2-bedroom, same size, 1.17, 1.16. Do you know what happens, right, when these 2 units are actually being sold? Okay, what happens is that, right, now these 2 person here will already have a safety cushion of almost $300,000, which eventually will become what? Eventually will become your profit. Why so? I buy this price, I sell at my neighbor's old price, is easy for me. But those who have bought at this price, to make another 300,000, you need to sell about what, $1.4 million. So if you're a buyer looking at 1.1 and 1.4 in the resale market, which one will you choose? Alright, so this is something that we want to be very careful about. Okay, so another thing we also understand about buying versus phase 1 and phase 3, you realize you look at stack 10, which is the pool facing, versus stack 11, which is the bin center. So you can actually see here, okay, stack 10 facing the pool, stack 11 facing the BC, which is the bin center. And the thing is that the stack 10 who bought at 2019 in July actually bought at about $1.335 million. Okay, whereas the stack 11 facing a Nest Premium facing hit about $1.6 million, which is almost like a $300,000 price gap. So Friends, can I ask, if you have the choice to choose, will you prefer to buy pool facing and save $300,000? Or will you want to pay extra $300,000 to be next to the bin center? So is it important to actually buy at the correct face or not? Okay, so the second thing, how we also look at three phases, right, is also depending on the floor level. So usually for high-rise developments lah. So for this example, we're looking at Avenue South, which is actually 55 stories. Okay, so the phase 1 is actually the lower floor units. You can see actually lower 4 units bought about 1.3 plus lah. Okay, then the phase 2, people who are actually 20th to 35th floor, you realize the PSF, then they actually bought also quite same to the low floor units. Then we look at the higher floor ones, level 47, 2004 PSF. Okay, so can I ask, actually in today's market, if you were to go and see a resale property, right, then maybe on the level 47, and when you open the balcony door, wow, it's very breezy and you see a very nice unblocked view, will there be a view that you will like? Can I say majority of the buyers will also like this view? So technically by right, if based on this assumption, right, can I say that the higher floor units will be highly sought after? And if they're highly sought after, should they also fetch a better profit? Okay, so we see so for level 7, you can see the profits here is as high as about $200,000. Then the question here is, if the low floor is only making about $200,000, should the high floor make more or less? Logically, less lah. But we can see in summary, you can actually see here, phase 3, like I said, made about 80 to 150,000. Phase 1 made a whooping 200 to about $300,000. So why is it happening here? Same thing, you realize at level 47, they already bought at the pinnacle of the pricing. To sell to the next owner, the next buyer have to so-called create a new ceiling for them, which can I say most of us will want to do that. But for the lower floor, who only transacted about 1,800 PSF, right? Actually, I just simply sell at 2,002. I also make a good profit already. In fact, say this person bought 2004, also make very good profits. So that is why you realize that understanding which phase is the developer's pricing strategy is, right, is very important, and that will actually help you to save money on your purchase with a good exit in the future. So the question is, what are some of the projects today that are still in phase 1 and phase 2 pricing? If you want to find out more, please reach out to me and I will share more details with you. Thank you and see you soon. Bye!